Sheila here with various Talis Moon, so our Mercury day, and the Moon is squaring Saturn and Mars and Mercury. Midheaven conjoining Chiron and Aries, and the Sun ruling the Ascendant, applying to oppose Pluto. Ruled by Venus, that's moving towards Uranus, towards the end of Taurus, and we have a combination of the Moon at home, Jupiter exalted in Cancer, Venus at home, Mars at home, and at the same time we have the Moon in a square with Mars, Saturn, and Mercury. Saturn and Mars still conjoining. Sun applying to square Pluto, and Uranus and Venus still next to Beta Persei. So it's a combination of really calm waters and a friction. Now, the core of that friction lies in the Moon squaring Saturn, Mars, and Mercury. And the Moon is, first of all, the Moon is the people, whereas Aries is the individual. So if I think about nations and the individuals in nations, but Aries is also the military complex or the intelligence complex. And this is a time where the sense of safety of the people is in friction with some sort of a military intelligence operation. Now, the question is also where is the tension? Because the moon's needs are to be safe, the people's needs, the moon is also housing, and Mars is real estate. And the big question is, well, the intelligence or the military complex, first and foremost, is supposed to support our safety. Housing is a major component of that. And then we have this kind of infiltration of military intelligence activity to the sense of safety, housing, and nourishment of people. One of the things that I ran into was both Americans moving out of United States and rediscovering food, but also within Europe, or particularly I saw in Netherlands, there was a demonstration next to Albert Heijn, one of the biggest supermarkets, and the people were questioning what's in their food. It's both the labor rights, but also the what's in the food, and the mergers and acquisitions that happen in big food companies and big military complexes and big military tech or individual directed military tech um, are at odds or at friction with the people's sense of safety, housing, nourishment. And so everything here in Aries is supposed to support individual sovereignty. The food is supposed to be way healthier. It's supposed to be way more housing. Housing is supposed to be way more safe and free. Um, the aggression towards the people. All of that is not really showing how what's happening here in Aries supports the people. And everything in Aries, the only legitimacy for everything that exists here in Aries is to provide for the individual people. The individual buying power, the the safety and the nourishment. The targeting of infants in rituals prevents inclusivity in society. The demands over the individual, where is the abolition of, let's say Epstein dossiers were out. How come anything still affiliated with Epstein is still running? How come the world doesn't strike until it doesn't? The pervasive intervention in the individual sovereignty. How should I say that? All of these perspectives that see the people as sheeple are not compatible with whatever enables Aries. And here is where the moon and Aries work well. When the family unit is honoring of individual sovereignty, then the family unit is functioning. When somebody tries to manage somebody else, the most important question is, how has your day been? Because I can tell you how my night has been. And if I wake up from attempts to rape me, then there's no basis for anything. Not for cooking, not for showering, not for anything. Definitely not for working. And what you do is supposed to make sure that I don't wake up with security threats, with attempts to rape me, and so on and so forth. Mars Moon here can be the single mother or the woman that is single because it's not possible to run a family unit before there is individual sovereignty that is honored. Rape is not housing. Rape is not work. Rape is also not communication. Rape does not teach anybody anything. Now, other than that, we do have Venus in her home sign, Mars in its home sign, the moon in its home sign. The occultistic practices that come to dehouse people by raping them and siphoning their energy are no longer secret. And there's no point to invest time and energy to try to enslave people. Why is it that there is so much stress upon the individual? What is the issue? What is the matter? Are people trading the things that they unsolicitedly film of humans? Is the business model of anything going on here in Aries built on the enslavement of people? Because that business model doesn't work with we the people. In any deal, the sovereignty and the best interest of everybody that is affiliated with the deal must be considered and must be granted. Otherwise, it's not a deal. Rape is not a deal. And those type of tactics that violate that, they undermine the legacy of those who practice these tactics. Blame shifting here won't work. To come towards the person that is not having their own house, not having their own income that is safe, that they are not raped in, not having their own night's sleep, and try to pretend like this is the big organization that is. In a world where a woman is not honored, is no point to talk about anything. This is a prerequisite. Rape is not raping is a prerequisite for communication. Honoring women is a prerequisite for any demand from women. When there are rules that try to ban divorces, to take the wheel backwards in human rights, there's no point to have a conversation about responsibility and requirements and the demands. None of that. There is no justification for excessive use of power. We are in 2026. How come there's no individual sovereignty? With all of this technology, with all of the world progressing, with the unification of science and philosophy and spirituality, and why do people waste so much time and energy to try to dictate the path of the individual and prevent the individual from having actually a path, actually opportunities, actually options and possibilities that are not rapey? It's like it's so basis. The immense incompetence juxtaposed with the immense investment of energy. Sun applying to square Pluto is exactly that ego death of the leadership that thinks to criticize the people for being sovereign, for requiring the basis of human rights, their sovereignty. Food that is actually fooding. House that is actually housing. Rape is not housing, rape is not work, and rape is not intelligence. Perhaps the strike should start there. Rape is also not training for public figures and politicians. Perhaps the strike has also a place there. If people demonstrate and besiege the daycare centers, the religious institutions, the hospitals, then they will intervene between the rituals that are done that are creating wars and violating sovereignty. I address the fact that diplomacy doesn't work with rape, psychoeroticism. The psychoeroticism that is rape based is violation of sovereignty. Violation of sovereignty doesn't generate sovereignty, and it harms business. The entire world change is actually supposed to support the technological changes that allow people to have way more leisure time. way more resources, way clearer water for free. It's not impossible. Everybody's dentist fears just paramounted when they discovered that the Epstein Island had a dentist. Trying to define for the individual who they are is exactly what is causing the fallout of society. If people are excluded for not agreeing to rape and be raped, it doesn't matter what name you call these people. It doesn't change the fact that they were disincluded for not agreeing to be raped or raped. A person that disagrees to be in position where they are raped or raped are not undeserving.